to come to Fiddle Club and fully, I think, dragged her to the dark side. From all the classical music stuff. That first set was a set of 4 Shetland fiddle tunes that we learned together at Violin Fiddle Camp from Alistair Fraser. We'll be playing a mix of Shetland, Irish, Swedish, I think maybe some Norwegian, some bluegrass stuff, all sorts of stuff tonight, various fiddle styles that we both like.
A variety. And something you'll notice is that we're not playing with any music, it's all memorized. That's because in the fiddle folk tradition, it is usually carried on orally, so that is people learn things by ear. Now, of course, stuff is notated a lot more, but for the longest time, like, people have been playing music since people ever existed. And there's this ephemeral nature to music. So you'll notice this is just part 1 of our 2-part concert series. We'll probably be playing some different tunes at our next one. So if you guys want to come out to the Sly Schoolhouse on June 14th, if you like what you hear tonight. But I'm getting ahead of myself.
And what she said about music, I think 80 or 90% of the tunes we're playing tonight, if not all of them, at least I learned by ear.
Same, yeah.
Because that's the way it goes. The next tune is called Le Promenus, and it's a Québécois tune that I learned from the Vent du Nord.
And I actually looked up what La Promenus means, and it means the first lady.
Ah. So I think it was last month that we got like 6 feet of snow or something.
Oh yeah,
up
that's
here.
right. It is still May. Much to my dismay.
So we all have dealt with these various April blizzards. And when McKenzie and I were going to school in Wisconsin, they have April blizzards there too. we went to go play the farmer's market one day, a nice spring farmer's market day, and it had dumped, 2.5, 3.5 feet of snow?
I think this was actually when I was abroad.
Oh.
Anyway, but you were there, and it was legendary because he was inspired to write this tune called April Blizzard.
Yeah. I wrote the tune when you were standing next to me because we were playing
that's
a
right.
gig, and I go, "Do you know any slow jigs?" And I could not think of any, and so I just started noodling a slow jig. And but then it was called April Blizzard after this. One of these insane spring snowstorms. Then we'll go into whiskey for breakfast, which is always a good idea.
traditions because we have another one next. This was also written at Valley of the Moon Fiddle Camp, which is a really amazing fiddle camp to check out. It's all beginners, all ages, and it's a really nice community, and it's in the California redwoods, like in the forest. And so, you know, the redwoods are these huge, huge trees. And I think I'm taking the words out of your mouth, but...
So I was in 2018, and there was this amazing Swedish fiddle player, Anders Hall, who was teaching all sorts of amazing polskas, which is a traditional Swedish dance-style fiddle tune. And I wanted to try writing a polska. And I was sitting under a redwood tree, and a polska fell out of the tree onto my head. And so this is called Stortrads polska, or Big Tree polska. And McKenzie graciously learned this very strange tune.
You'll also notice that one of the things particular to polskas is that the second beat is not prominent. It's kind of a heartbeat, like 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And so like the second beat is almost missing, and that's when dancers who would dance these tunes, when they lift their feet. So hopefully you can hear that. Trace is also part of a band with a member of the audience here. They're called Trace and Baird. If you want to check out any of their music, they have an album coming out this summer. Yeah, just thought I'd put that little plug in there. Also coming up next, we have a song that we learned from the Nordic Fiddlers block, which is a fantastic trio of musicians. They play hardanger fiddle, violin, viola, and they switch around. Sometimes it's 2 hardanger fiddles, sometimes it's 1, and then backing it up. And they play a variety of Scandinavian, Nordic, Swedish music. I believe this is a Swedish tune though. The one we're about to play is called Flinken, and it's off of their Deliverance album if you're curious and want to listen after the show. Anything else to add?
No.
No? Okay. All right, here it goes. actually put our Nordic stuff back to back. Do you want to do that one next?
Sure.
Okay.
This is another tune that we both went from Nordic Fiddler's Block, but this is a traditional Shetland set of reels. The full rigged ship into the new rigged ship. They like their ships, obviously, in Shetland.
tuning. Trace and I have had the pleasure to play at a couple Irish sessions in the area.
The Boulder Irish session.
The Boulder Irish session. Is there another? Might not be another. But a few of which there are members in the audience. We're going to play some classic reels for you next, which are called Maid Behind the Bar, Musical Priest, and Earl's Chair. We hope you enjoy. back, like we both studied classical music as well, and I'm sure you've had this experience as well, where sometimes when you learn a piece of music by looking at the page and then the page goes away, you're a lot more prone to memory slips. And I don't know, it's in a different part of your brain sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you have anything
Oh
to
yeah,
add?
the fiddle tunes especially are more formulaic and repetitive than like, 45-minute symphony. So it's a lot easier to memorize, but yeah. Oh yeah, when I try and take all like the concertos and stuff off the page, memory slips go away.
Right, and sometimes even, because I do classical as well as fiddle, a lot more fiddle gigs now, this included, but there's actually this wonderful website called The Session where you can look up any tune and there's notation for it, and it's somewhat accurate.
Always wrong.
Yeah, it's
The session is always wrong.
But you can look at
close.
it's something, and then sometimes when I try to learn tunes by looking at the session, I find that I actually don't remember them as well as when I listen to a recording and I figure it out. But again, so it also takes lots of practice. I mean, I've been playing for 20 years. Trace has been playing for 23 years. Yeah, so lots of time with the instrument makes it easier to memorize things. And
It's the best thing to do when you're driving. Put on a CD and just kind of drive while memorizing it. It's great.
exactly, yeah.
Especially if you live up in Mountain Canyon and have long commutes.
Exactly, yeah. This next one,
Yeah, so
it's another one of yours.
this is another tune that I wrote. It was just a jig that I wrote sitting in my room one day in the midst of the COVID pandemic. I was trying to write a tune every day to post it on TikTok. That quickly stopped, but I did get some good tunes out of it. And this one's called Bits of Love, because we all needed more love in the pandemic.
question, Susie. Sometimes when you have it all up here and you start to play a tune, you don't know what's going to come out. So the first tune of that was actually a gig called Kerfunkin, and I confused it, and I was like, oh, that's not the right one.
And then I did a reprise of April Blizzard.
And then we figured it out. So you'll see this often in sessions where it's just because there's innumerable tunes to learn, and also because they're formulaic, like Trace said, a lot of them only have like a note or two difference, so it's easy to think you're playing one tune and then you get funneled into another, and it's like, oh, I meant to play.
But the whole session usually follows you.
The session usually follows. Also, there's a joke that how do you tell fiddle tunes apart, and it's by their name. Yeah. So just a little.
It's like a big jam session.
Right. Exactly. And
we have reached the construction portion of the evening.
oh yes, so I'm sure you guys, those of you who live in the canyon at least, have noticed there's been a lot of construction going on down at Canyon Pines. So you might be able to relate to this
See,
a little more than most.
when you live in Wisconsin, there are two seasons: winter and road construction. And so we were trying to rehearse as a fiddle club at Lawrence University outside one day, and just hear, the backhoes and the pickup trucks and everything else making a whole horrendous ton of noise. And a cello player that we both love, Maggie, was sick of trying to play over the construction noise. So she played along to it and wrote this very interesting tune called The Construction Song, which we thought it would be hilarious to make a whole construction set.
And it's kind of a timeline. So the first song is Construction Song, and then the next tune is called Road Rage, which is written by Emma Peters, I believe is her name.
Yeah.
And then the last tune is Berserk, which that's the final conclusion. You experience construction, you have road rage, and then you go berserk. And that last tune is by Pete Cooper, who's an amazing fiddler in London. Anyway, so don't be alarmed if you hear some strange sounds coming out of our fiddles, at least for the first one. The rest is all unplayed.
prettier when you can take your musical feelings out on it.
That's exactly, yeah.
It's cool.
Oh, this
next tune is also one of the kind of Scandinavian variety. It is called The Shetland Rose. It's written by a fantastic fiddle player named Esko Järvelä, who's from Finland, who is visiting Shetland. And there's something called the Shetland Rose, which is a beautiful name, and the tune is beautiful. The Shetland Rose went extinct due to people actually caring about not throwing red beer cans by the side of the road. There's a type of beer can that used to be very popular in Shetland, and people would throw it by the side of the road, and it's bright red. And that was the Shetland Rose. So that's pretty much gone extinct, which is probably a good thing for the environment. But so he wrote this, Finnish fiddle player wrote this tune called the Shetland Rose while he was touring, I believe, Denmark. So lots of Scandinavian influence, but yeah.
Let's check tuning real quick before we go.
Construction tends to take your instruments out of tune.
I was gonna say, yeah. As well as the mountain air. Sharing your Friday night with us. Starting the summer season and listening to some fiddle music. I don't know, it's been kind of on my mind for a while to do this duo fiddle concert, and a while ago I was like, hey Trace, do you want to actually do this? And he of course was like, yes, exuberantly. Which you need that in a friend. You need friends who are just going to be like, yes, let's do it, let's go for it, and Trace will be there on time, early, doing the thing. And I'm saying, I'm for real, like that's a compliment. Like,
You need friends who push you to do things.
yeah, so it's a pleasure to play with each other, and we're winding down here. This next tune that we're gonna play is a little bit slower. It's called Ukpik Waltz. It goes by a couple different variations of that name, Upik, Upek. Yeah, there's a lot of games of telephone that happen with these fiddle tunes that are passed around by ear.
Things get stratified, even if they were written recently.
Exactly. Which is this one?
Recent? I think so.
Okay. There's gorgeous recordings of this if you want to look it up after the show.
I think it's a John Marshman tune, but I'm not positive.
Yeah. So anyway, hope you enjoy Ukpik Waltz.
tunes. The first one is called The Hills of Kaitoki. It's a Catherine Fraser tune that we learned off a Talisk record. And the second tune is called Talon's Trip to Thompson Island, which is a fiddle tune that was written by Kevin Henderson and played with Mark Filler's Luck.
Let's make sure we're in tune for the last one.
In tune because you care.
Exactly.
And it could be worse, we could be playing banjos.
I know. Much offense to all the banjo songs. Make sure that's good.
But it's never been you're on your time.
Hey, thank you
Hi,
guys for
y'all.
coming. Oh, Alan, this is Carl, Micah.
Micah, Carl, very good to meet you. How's it going?
Carl came even though you just injured his meniscus.
Oh my goodness. Man. Is this where they were getting in there? Oh my goodness.